Who's that? Excuse me, sir. Can I ask what you're doing, please? Stop! Stop! Stop that packet! Everyone out of the building! British Army, stop our fire!
Could the guard have opened fire on the intruder on first seeing him? A. Yes, the intruder had no right to be there. B. Yes, the intruder was about to commit an act likely to endanger human life. C. Yes, the intruder was acting very suspiciously.
D. No, unless the guard believed that the intruder was about to commit an act likely to endanger human life, and there was no other way to stop the threat. Was the guard right to open fire at the intruder as he ran away? A. Yes, because the intruder had not stopped when challenged. B. Yes, shooting at him was a reasonable use of force in the circumstances. C. No, it was too dark to fire an aimed shot. D. Yes, if he believed the intruder was about to detonate a bomb endangering human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. If the guard knew that the accommodation block was empty and the other guard had left the building, would he have been right to shoot the intruder? A. Yes, you can open fire to protect MOD property. B. Yes, the man was getting away. C. No, lethal force must only be used to protect human life. D. No, because the other guard did not have ear defenders.
Does Card Alpha restrict you from doing what is necessary to protect yourself or others? A. Yes, you can't protect people properly when you have to follow the rules. B. Yes, the rules are all about protecting the bad guys. C. No, you have a right to self-defense to protect yourself and a right to protect others. D. Yes, if you're in the military, you should be able to use lethal force whenever you want.
Last night's work do was good.
Yeah, it's alright, isn't it?
What the hell are they doing? Army, help! Hello Zero, this is 2-4 Bravo. We have 3 times intruders in one solo rotator, leaving through North Gate, over.
Could the guard have opened fire when the intruders had the boxes of ammunition in their hands?
A. Yes, the guard needed to stop the ammunition being stolen. B. Yes, the ammunition could have been used to kill someone, so the guard had to stop it being stolen by any means. C. No, they should have waited until the intruders put the boxes down. D. No, there was no imminent threat to human life by the intruders just holding the ammunition boxes.
Could the guard have fired at the moving car? A. No, there was no imminent threat to human life.
B. Yes, they could have fired at the tyres and stopped the intruders escaping. C.
Yes, the suspects had clearly been stealing and needed to be stopped. D. Yes, as long as they fired at the front of the vehicle and not at the rear. Which of the following, if any, are true? A. You may use lethal force to protect property if it is very valuable. B. You may use lethal force to protect MOD property. C. When guarding property, you must not use lethal force other than for the protection of human life. D. You can use lethal force to protect your own property.
Could the guard have opened fire against the intruders if they had been stealing rifles with the ammunition? A. Yes, to stop them shooting someone in the future. B. No, you cannot open fire to protect property. C. Yes, stealing rifles is a very serious offence. D. Yes, if the guard believed that the intruders were about to fire at them with the weapons and there was no other way to stop them.
Do you hear there? The unit has received a bomb threat. All unit personnel are to proceed to the muster point immediately.
Stop!
021 Echo, intruder, building 26 out.
Bomber! Get down!
Stop! Hold me on fire!
Did the guard who opened fire need to issue a challenge? A. Yes, a challenge must always be given before opening fire. B. Yes, unless he believed that it would increase the risk of death or grave injury. C. No, a challenge should only be issued as a last resort. D. Yes, it gave his colleagues a chance to take cover.
Was the guard right to open fire? A. Yes, he believed there was an imminent threat to human life, and there was no other way to prevent it. B. Yes, it's better to be safe than sorry. C. No, he should have given another challenge. D. No, he could see the bomb wasn't real. If guards shoot at suicide bombers to protect human life, what must they ensure? A. That they give lots of clear challenges first. B. That they fire into the air as a warning first. C. That they do not damage any MOD property. D. That they fire only aimed shots. The bomb proves to be a fake. Was the guard right to open fire? A. Yes, if he believed that the bomb was real and an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to stop the danger. B. Yes, it will make others think twice before they try the same thing. C. No, it was obvious it was a fake. He should have known it was. D. No, he'll be in all kinds of trouble now.
Whoa! Get out of my way! Leave me alone! Calm down! Get in! What's the problem? I'm gonna get in! Out of the way now, he's in there! I'm gonna kill him, he's in there! No, just calm down! What are you gonna do? Do you want some beer? Calm down!
Under what circumstances could the guard have fired on the man with the sword? A. If the man had tried to force his way into the guard room. B. If he believed the man was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. C. If he thought the man was going to come back later and hurt someone. D. If the man was very rude to him. Was the guard correct to make ready at that stage? A. Yes, there was no threat to human life. B. Yes, the guards were under threat and making the rifle ready was reasonable in that situation. C. No, you should only make ready if you are going to shoot. D. No, because you must issue a challenge before you make ready.
Calm down! Calm down! Stop! Put that weapon on the deck now! Now! Look at me! Put it down! Move back! Move back! On your knees now! On your knees! On your knees! Hands on your head now!
You have an inherent right to self-defense. If there was no other way to prevent the danger, when could a guard open fire? A. Only against a person who was an illegal intruder on MOD property. B. Only against a person who had already attacked someone. C. Only against a person who was presenting an imminent threat to human life. D. Only against someone who had a gun.
If the man had begun to damage the guard room walls with the sword, would the guard have been justified in opening fire? A. Yes, he could have damaged MOD property. B. Yes, because the man had lost his temper. C. No, the damage would have been easy to repair. D. No, lethal force should only be used to protect human life. What should the guards have done next? A. Open fire because the intruders were armed, and it was obvious that they were going to shoot someone. B. Given a challenge, because at this stage there was no reason to suspect that doing so would increase the danger to human life. C. Ran away. D. Ignored the intruders.
Were the guards right to open fire? A. No, unless they believed that the intruders were about to commit an act likely to endanger human life and there was no other way to stop the threat. B. Yes, it was clear the intruders were going to shoot someone and it was a reasonable use of force in that circumstance. C. Yes, in case the men escaped. D. No, the intruders' weapons could have been fake.
What action should the guard have taken when it became obvious that the family might get caught in the crossfire? A. Not fire anymore.
B. Continued firing if he could take all reasonable precautions not to injure anyone other than his target. C. Continued firing regardless of where the family were because they were under armed attack.
D. None of the three answers above are correct.
Did the guards act within the guidance in Card Alpha? A. No, they did not issue a challenge before they opened fire. B. No, they did not take all reasonable precautions not to injure anyone other than their target. C. No, because firearms were not used as a last resort. D. All of the three answers above are correct.
Yeah, so we're all going to meet in the Two Twigs at 8 o'clock Saturday, if you're up for it. All right, mate, what are you up to? Army, stop! Stop or I'll fire!
The suspect is carrying a weapon. What action should the guards take next?
A. Open fire. The suspect has a weapon. B. Open fire. The suspect was planting a device.
C. Issue a challenge and then be prepared to use firearms as a last resort. D. Issue a challenge, then open fire immediately.
Army, stop or I'll fire!
Was the guard right to fire and shoot the suspect? A. Yes. If she believed that because the gunman kept turning and firing he was an imminent threat to life and there was no other way to stop the danger. B. Yes, otherwise the suspect would have made his escape. C. No, you can't shoot someone in the back even if they are threatening life. D. No, she could not fire an aimed shot at his back. Could the guard have fired more rounds? A. No, you must not waste ammunition. B. Yes, if she believed that there was still a threat to human life. C. Yes, she needed the practice. D. Yes, if he was not dead. The female guard who shot the intruder was not the guard who issued the challenge. Should she have fired? A. Yes, the intruder continued to commit an act that was endangering human life. B. No, the intruder may not have heard the challenge.
C. No, it was an illegal act as she had not issued the challenge herself.
D. No, she should have let the other guard fire first.
Hello, 2-4 Bravo and 2-4 Charlie. Reference to shooting in the area of the officers' mess. Armed suspects spotted in the area of the MT gate. Proceed to the MT gate. Over.
Rory, stop or I'll fire! Hands up! Hands up! Forward! Down on one knee! On your front! On your front!
Should the guard issue a challenge? A. Yes. He is not under armed attack, and a challenge will not increase the risk of death or grave injury to him or any other persons. B. Yes, you must challenge at all times. C. No, he has to fire immediately because the men are armed. D. No, the men are too far away to hear. Was the guard right to open fire? A. No, he might have caused the armed men to turn and fire at his colleagues. B. Yes, he wanted to stop the armed men escaping. C. No, unless the guard believed that there was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to stop the threat. D. Yes, he had already been told that shots had been fired. Could the guard have shot the men after they had put their hands up? A. Yes, the men could still have been armed. B. No, because they had surrendered. C. Yes, it had been reported that the men had opened fire before. D. No, unless the men tried to commit an act likely to endanger human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. If you decide to open fire, you must. A. Always give a challenge, whatever the circumstances. B. Shoot to kill. C. Always fire a warning shot. D. Always take all reasonable precautions not to injure anyone other than your target.
Wait. What? What? It's got to do with you. What? What are you doing? What?
Put the
Whoa,
weapon
Stace,
down.
calm down.
Put that
What?
weapon down.
Oh, what?
Put it down. You
What are
are
you
in
gonna do?
trouble. You are in trouble. Put it down.
Baby.
Should the guard have opened fire at the drunk intruder as he took the weapon from the second guard? A. Yes, if he believed that the intruder presented an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. B. No, because drunks cannot react quickly. C. Yes, because drunken behaviour is hard to predict. D. Yes, he should have opened fire because the intruder had taken the weapon. Was the guard right to make ready his rifle? A. No. Once you've made ready your weapon, you have to fire. B. Yes, because the man was now armed and possibly dangerous. C. No, as he didn't go on to issue a challenge. D. No, it could have made the situation worse. Can you use lethal force to protect someone other than yourself? A. Yes, to prevent an act likely to endanger human life. B. Yes, but only if your life is also threatened. C. Yes, but only if there is also a danger to property. D. Yes, if you know who they are. If the intruder had run off with the weapon, could the guard have opened fire? A. Yes, to prevent an armed, aggressive man from escaping. B. Yes, if he had issued a challenge and this had been ignored. C. Yes, but only if he believed that there was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. D. Yes, if he fired a warning shot first.
Hey mate, I'm a contractor working on board. I've left my tea card in the box. I'm just wondering if you can have a look for me, please. Get off! Put the weapon down! Off! Put the weapon down! What are you doing, Put the weapon down! Come with me. Get off! Come with me.
Navy, stop all fire!
Could the guard have opened fire on the man with the knife? A. Yes, but only if he believed that there was a threat to human life, and there was no other way to prevent the danger. B. No, a knife does not present a real threat to human life. C. No, you can only fire once someone has been hurt. D. No, the guard's own life was not being threatened.
Put your weapon down! Put your weapon down! Put the knife down!
Did the guard need to issue a challenge before firing at the gunman? A. Yes, you must give a challenge in all circumstances. B. Yes, he had to give the man a chance to surrender. C. No, because the driver had a rifle. D. No, because to do so would have increased the risk to himself. Was the guard right to open fire on the gunman? A. Yes, if he believed that there was an imminent threat to his life and there was no other way to prevent the danger. B. No, the gunman had not fired at him at that stage. C. No, because he had not given a challenge to the gunman. D. Yes, because the gunman was armed. Could the guard have opened fire at the attacker with the knife as he ran away? A. Yes, the man was clearly a threat to human life and needed to be stopped. B. Yes, the man could have picked up the gunman's rifle and used it. C. No, the guard could not have fired an aimed shot as the man was running. D. No, unless the man went on to commit an act likely to endanger human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger.
Check it out. Hey! I think you need to calm down, mate. Get him up here now! Get him up here now! Attention! Stop on me! Use this baton against you! Get him up here! Here now!
Can you open fire on an attacker who does not have a firearm? A. Yes. It is not only firearms that can cause death. B. Yes, but only if you have issued a challenge. C. No, there are always other ways to prevent the danger. D. No, opening fire would always be more force than is necessary. Was the guard right to open fire? A. Yes, if the guard believed that the man was about to commit an act likely to endanger human life and there was no other way to remove that threat. B. No, the man did not have a firearm. C. No, as he was not the man being attacked. D. Yes, because the injured guard had already issued a challenge. Should the guard have given a challenge before opening fire? A. Yes, a challenge must always be given to someone who does not have a firearm. B. Yes, a challenge must always be given if the threat is to someone else. C. No, if he believed that it would have increased the risk of death or grave injury. D. No, a challenge only needs to be given as a last resort. Can you use lethal force to protect someone other than yourself? A. Yes, to stop an act likely to endanger human life. B. Yes, uniformed personnel can use lethal force when they want to. C. No, you can only protect yourself. D. Yes, but only if your life is also in danger.
This boat looks a bit suspicious.
Gangway, Ipswich, Manchester, Oxford Street.
Manchester, yeah, this is Portsmouth Harbour Control. For information, we have a suspicious looking craft between you at Toilet Basin entrance and number 3 mooring point.
Okay, thanks.
Navy, stop right fire!
Should the guard have made ready? A. Yes, if he believed that there was a possible threat. B. No, you may only make ready after issuing a challenge. C. No, you can only make ready as a last resort. D. Yes, you must always make ready before giving a challenge.
In what circumstances should a challenge be issued? A. Whenever you are about to use reasonable force to defend yourself. B. When you are under armed attack. C. Before opening fire, unless you are already under armed attack, or to do so would increase the risk to human life. D. Every time you open fire.
Could the guard have opened fire once the boat had turned away from the ship? A. Yes, to ensure they did not try to approach the ship again. B. Yes, he could have fired at the boat to disable it. C. No, he could not have fired an aimed shot given the speed of the boat. D. No, it could not have presented an imminent threat to human life. If the boat had not changed direction, could the guard have opened fire to prevent damage to the ship? A. No, unless he believed that it was an attack that would also threaten human life. B. Yes, ships are very valuable. C. No, because the boat driver may not have heard the challenge. D. Yes, but only with warning shots.
You're about to be shown an example scenario which shows you what to expect during the assessment. You will then be tested on 5 video scenarios which show security incidents involving armed guards. After each scenario, you will be asked 4 questions on Card Alpha and on whether the actions of the guards were correct. After every question, you will have 10 seconds to select the correct answer from a list of 4 possible answers shown on the screen. Only one answer is correct. Some scenarios have questions in the middle of the video clips as well as at the end.
Get down! Army, stop on fire! Don't shoot, don't shoot. I just been looking for my ID.
Was the guard right to issue a challenge? A.
Yes, because you must always issue a challenge.
B.
Yes, because he was suspicious and issuing the challenge did not increase the risk of death or grave injury to him or the runners.
C. No, it just caused an unnecessary delay. D. No, because he couldn't be sure what the man was going to do.
If there was no other way to prevent the danger, the guard would have been right to open fire if
A. He believed that the man was carrying a bomb and was an imminent threat to the runners' lives. B. He believed the man was carrying a bomb and was an imminent threat to his own life.
C. Both of the answers above are correct. D. He believed the man was carrying a bomb and was an imminent threat to MOD property. Would the guard have been right to open fire if the man with the rucksack had ignored the challenge and kept running towards the runners?
A. Yes, but only if he had issued another challenge. B. Yes, if he believed the man was an imminent threat to human life and there was no other way to prevent the danger.
C. No, he could not be sure that the man had a bomb. D. No, someone else might get hurt. If you have to open fire against a suicide bomber and there is no other way to prevent the danger, what should you do?
A. Issue several challenges.
B. Only fire at their head.
C. Remember to protect property. D. Fire only aimed shots.
We're thinking about going Gran Canaria next year, so when you come back, you'll have to let us know what it's like.
Don't usually go to Cyprus.
Yeah, we normally go Cyprus, but she wants to go somewhere different this year. If I'm away, I'll stay there. Afternoon, sir. Can I see your car pass, please? Thank you very much. That's fine.
Should the guard issue a challenge before he returns fire?
A.
No, a challenge
Must only be used as a last resort.
B. Yes, a challenge must always be issued before opening fire. C. No, he is under armed attack. D. No, the gunman is armed.
Was the armed guard right to open fire now? A. Yes, he was still under armed attack. B. Yes, he was trying to stop the gunman escaping. C. Yes, the gunman had shot the unarmed guard.
D. No, unless the guard believed that the intruder was about to commit an act likely to endanger human life, and there was no other way to stop the danger.
On opening fire, the guard shot a young boy. Did he act within Card Alpha guidance? A. Yes, he fired only aimed shots. B. Yes, he used minimum force. C. No, he did not take all reasonable precautions to avoid injuring anyone other than his target. D. No, he missed the target. Was the guard right to continue firing as the car drove further from the base? A. Yes, because the gunman was getting away. B. Yes, because he fired aimed shots.
C. No, unless the guard believed that the intruder was about to commit an act likely to endanger human life, and there was no other way to prevent the threat.
D. No, because he had already fired at the car.